Hey friends, this is Niti The Farmacist, and I am back with Miss Emily. Emily, we're going to have so much fun again. So, hey guys, today we wanted to talk to you guys about the differences between conventional meat, which is CAFO, confined animal feeding operation meat, and regenerative meat, and just our thoughts about that, and things that we've observed and learned, right?
Absolutely.
So where shall we begin?
Let's begin with our differences.
Well, maybe we should begin with when me and you first had our conversation, and I was telling you that I know that you've been doing this. I've been watching you. I've been following you. You've been so successful. I'm concerned that you are. So Emily had been carnivore when I talked to you for almost a year. It was October, November. I think it was October.
So that was only 9 months because I started February 24th. So that was only like 8 or 9 months.
You started on my husband's birthday. On the 24th. Okay, so when I talked to you, the first time that me and Emily talked, y'all, it was like October-ish. I believe it was October. So if that was 9 months, and I was saying to you that, because she and I started talking to each other, by the way, because I was saying that it's not just the meat that you eat. It isn't just the exercise that you do or the activity, but also there's a huge emotional component. And I was saying that I had been eating a certain way and, whatever for years, but also we lost a child. So I was grieving emotionally. I was shattered. So, no matter how much I was trying to reach for joy and happiness and, getting better or whatever, nobody wants to admit, or really, like if you're laying in bed feeling like you don't live up to your potential, you don't want to say, oh, I'm depressed, or maybe you do put those bad words on yourself. I don't know. I mean, because some doctor did it first and they like put this bad word on you, and now you just operate in that because it's something that you feel like you cannot get out of it because you've just got it now, right? Whatever it is. And so anyway, when she and I were talking about that, I was saying to her that after having written my book and whatever and feeling some relief, I was experiencing a shift because the emotional piece. And, how did she feel about that because of your bipolar? I was asking you, like, how do you feel about the emotional piece? And your experience was a little bit different. And I found it fascinating that she was on conventional meat. And I was saying, the only thing that I noticed in the 10 years that I'm working with so many people with regenerative meat is that if they do conventional CAFO meat, after about a year, they do tend to have more chemical sensitivities. And I was kind of warning Emily that I really hope this isn't true for you. What do I know? I don't really know nothing. But I hadn't observed anyone who didn't experience the chemical sensitivity at some point. And I was worried about her because of the MS and the bipolar.
Mm-hmm.
And you
said, and I was in that place where, number one, I had just gained my life back, and I had come from so much, and I was like, okay, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Right.
This is working. I am eating CAFO beef from the grocery store, and I can walk, I can talk, and I can think. And I hadn't been able to do that. So I was like, okay, thank you, Niti. I can't hear you. Like, I was right back into that little 5-year-old going, okay.
La, 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 la. And you were saying, I can't even afford that, and don't talk to me.
Big time poverty mentality. Because I was on food stamps. I was, I'm living in this camper. I was barely getting by as far as like I was getting what I could afford, and I was getting where I was at as far as my journey to getting the best sources of beef. And it was interesting because I always kept that door open. I always wanted to as I learned better, to do better, but I wasn't there yet
Yeah.
until
So, and okay, so before that, let's just also say that during that conversation, we were talking about the infamous, like, Kelly Hogan, the Andersons, Dr. Lisa. We were saying, like the Bear, all these folks had been on just conventional grocery store meat for 20 years. But I was saying, I get it, but like Kelly was just overweight and didn't want to be overweight. And I don't know about the Andersons, but I don't know that any of these people, Dr. Lisa or the Andersons or Kelly, I don't know that any of them had actually really a diagnosed disease. And you were trying to reverse metabolic disease.
I was
And
sick.
I mean, okay, so for my folks who may not know about Emily's story, Emily couldn't walk. She was physically disabled because of the MS. And you wouldn't know that looking at her right now. I mean, she can do some jumping jacks or something for us. And see, she's got, look at the muscles. So can you imagine that a year ago today, she couldn't walk, and now couldn't talk?
I had delayed and slurred speech. Like
Yeah.
I would say to my son, go pick up your shoes, and it would come out, go pick up your shoes.
Yeah.
That's how it would come out. I mean,
Yeah.
every conversation. And then I would have that MS for the symptoms one day, and then they would be gone the next day. And then I would have them for 4 days, and then they would be gone for another half a day. It was just it was a neurological breakdown that I was having.
For people who don't know, when you are dealing with MS or any of these chemical imbalances like bipolar or whatever, it's like you have this synaptic disconnection. Like, imagine electricity that's going, it's doing that instead of like, and so you're trying to get the connection so that they're smooth instead of, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we're so scientific.
This is the 5-year-old explanation.
Look, we talk about things like the kids on the playground because, the sky is blue and the ground is dirt, looks like brown, and that's it. So you're going to just get that from us the whole time. And, if you want to get some scientific explanation, there's plenty of folks that are doing the research, and we can refer you to them because we don't speak. But we speak about the anecdotes. They call them anecdotes. Okay, I just want to say this one thing. This is fun. Yeah. Okay, this is the fun. Okay, there's anecdote, ANEC, anecdote. Okay, and then there's antidote, ANTI. I was talking to Joel Salatin one day, and I said, "Hey, he's a wordsmith, and I was like, okay, I got these fun words for you." I said, everything I say, they tell me is an anecdote, which means that, it's hearsay,
narrative,
wives' tales, whatever. And antidote is the cure.
Ooh.
The cure. Isn't it amazing that we are doing things that are anecdotal to the sciencey people, but for us on the playground, it's antidote. It's antidotes.
I love that.
So even the chemically sensitive, chemically laden meat that she was eating was an antidote for so long, and helping her reverse, because she's not slurring her speech. She can talk and wink. Mate, can you wink? I don't know. Maybe she cannot wink, but can you do this with your face? No, I'm just kidding. She has full function. She got muscles. See, muscles. So She has all of that. But before you were not developing muscle. You were losing muscle.
Oh,
Um,
I had bad atrophy. Like, yeah, I couldn't. Well, I mean, because when you're laying in bed, because I had symptoms from March 19th to May 9th. That's whenever I had the worst of the worst with MS. I've been having, when I pieced together all the pieces of the puzzle, I've been having MS symptoms for years, but it all came to a head March 19th through May 9th. And I had
of
already,
what year?
of 2019, and I had already started
You mean,
carnivore.
oh, of 19. Okay. Sorry. I was taking you back another year.
No worries. And I had already started carnivore February 24th of 2019 to address specifically my bipolar disorder. And I've had bipolar disorder for, I mean, years, and been highly, highly medicated on that and still not functioning. I mean, at the point where I started carnivore, I was living at my mother's because so that she could help me on my days that I couldn't get out of bed, that she could help me get my son to school and function as far as getting the basics. I wasn't functioning at all. I wasn't working. I was living with my mom at the age of 40. And so that's where I started. I started with what I could get. I started
Right.
with what I could get, and I could get the grocery store beef, and that's all I knew to do. And
Well,
that's what
because
I
you got
did.
to be able to access it. I mean, so when I was talking to Emily, then I'm warning her, right? Because I'm watching this happen. And of course, like she just went from not being able to walk to walking. I mean, come on, and that wasn't even what she was trying to do. She was just trying to protect her mind with the bipolar. She didn't even know that the MS was even going to be turned around, right? I mean, that was just a surprise. I mean, this is only anecdotal, though. It's
Yes,
only
it is.
anecdotal. It is not curative. It's not.
Yes.
But anyway, so now I'm talking to her and saying, "Hey, Emily, I really am concerned. I've been watching you. I don't want to see you regress, and I feel like I see people regress. I mean, I want her to play on the playground. I don't want her to go back to bed. I want her to come out and play with me. So, but I was worried, and she's like, "Girl, don't worry about me. I got
Mm-hmm.
food stamps. This is free. This is great." And I
I'm
was like,
good.
I'm like, who am I to, create rock the boat or create imbalance? Yeah, eat the meat, whatever,
And you
right?
did it. And you did it. And that's what I loved, is that you loved me where I was at. You loved me where I was at. And I knew that I always had that safe line. I knew that I always had that access to talk to you whenever I did want to know better, and I did want to do better. But
And
I
maybe
didn't.
never, you would maybe never do that. And that's okay because we were playing on the playground and we were having fun. But she did, by the way, kind of messed with me a little bit because I was like, oh, maybe I don't know what I'm talking about. And then she and I ended up on the platform with Sean Baker, and I'm watching these people all around the globe reverse mental illness and stuff. And maybe I'm like, maybe I don't know anything. What do I know? I don't know nothing. And I'm questioning everything that I've figured out all this big long time over the past decade because,
The past decade, y'all. The past decade. We're talking like starting in 2007, 2008. That's how long that Niti has been on this journey. That's crazy.
yeah.
Go
And I
ahead.
really, really, you know what, Emily, I really, 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 I really wanted to be wrong. I wanted to be wrong so bad because I make my family crazy. And I've lost all of my friends. I mean, me and my husband don't have no friends or nothing because we don't eat anything but regenerative meat. And we've stood firm on that since our daughter was diagnosed. And we figured out the food and we were able to cure her cancer with the meat. Then, of course, I'm not going to give my kids, my surviving two children, I'm not going to give them just anything. And so, and I don't want my friends to eat that. I don't even want my family to eat that. But, I can't impose myself or assert myself onto somebody. And I don't try to because we all choose. our path. We choose every day. And Emily reminded me, she was reading my book, and she says, Niti, I can't believe you said this, because I said in the book I wrote, you're so free, you can even choose bondage.
Oh, that was my favorite line. That was my favorite line. And that was where I was at. That was in my poverty mentality. And I don't blame myself for being in that poverty mentality. I was in survival mode for 10 freaking years. So,
Emily, it was programmed into you. Let me start with, every time you turn on the TV, which I really highly encourage you to stop. But like if you're watching the Today Show or the Good Morning America show or the whatever, every single show, every single day, they are impressing the scarcity mentality. They're fear-mongering and imposing a scarcity mentality. You can't afford this. You should try to get the cheapest crap food you can. And you should try to buy all the food that never goes bad. You know what? We're animals. We're embedded in nature. And for us to try to eat chemicals and act like that is going to help us gain life force is a joke. It's a joke. And it's, you know what? It is a priceless joke, because you're sacrificing your health, which is your only wealth. It's your only wealth. It's the only thing that you come into this life with, is your life force, your center of brilliance. The only thing you have is that light. And if they can get it out of you, if they can wear it down in you, then you're an easy consumer for them to manage. They want you to give them all your money, and they want you to work like this and give them all your money, and work like this and give them all your money. And first of all, Emily, look at how beautiful you are and your place is. And you have all of that despite being like almost buried alive.
Yeah. And I mean, and like I said, it started whenever my first husband left, when my son was 4 months old. I then met this guy in church, and like he was this good, guy who'd done missions work. Never in a million years did I think, I mean, he wasn't a drug addict, he wasn't an alcoholic, he wasn't a piece of crap, like
obvious labels.
Yeah, like I never in a million years thought I would be this single mom. And I was just off of maternity leave going, okay, I have a baby, I'm a single mom, like what, and then a 100 other things transpired that were devastating in the past 10 years. We won't get into. But I have been in survival mode for 10 years, plus 10 years. And so I was in that, like, okay, I'm just surviving. I'm doing great just to survive. And what happened with the beef stuff, it was just, that was what I could do right then. Yes. And I always kept that window open. I always kept that Niti window open going, yeah, but I want to hear what she has to say later.
But not right now. But not right now, because, this is later. So good. And I didn't care.
I wanted to bookmark you. Like,
she did bookmark me. She was like, yep.
I want to keep that link. I want to keep that link, but I can't read it right now.
And it was fine. And you know what? I was okay with it, because she was doing so much better. And we were playing and we were having a good time. So I don't care. I mean, as long as we're having fun. And we were making all these new friends, and we were having all these other conversations, and we were teaching and playing. And, all we want is a whole bunch of new friends, because we like the friends, and we don't want to be alone. We don't want to be alone.
And we don't want them to be alone. We don't want them. Right. We want them to know that they're welcome to come play.
We want you to come out on the playground and not be in the bed. We just want you to come outside and play. And so anyway, okay, seriously though, we get back to this conversation. This was, one day Emily says to me, just how long ago has this been now? Let's just walk everybody through what's going on.
Okay. So what happened was, and I'm gonna, post this on my page as well to tell everybody the follow-up story. But I basically got a really good deal on some ribeyes for my birthday. So that was February 10th. On February 11th, I started eating my pillage, my find, my hunts. I started eating these $3.99 a pound ribeyes. from a grocery store from where I'm
And
from.
she posted all about it. It was like, happy birthday
so
to me.
excited.
Yes.
I was so excited. And my very first reaction, this was the craziest thing. My very first reaction was cravings. I ate a ribeye that I have been eating for a year. I've been eating ribeyes for a year. I ate a ribeye and I started thinking about pizza. I started thinking about ice cream. I started thinking about all of the horrible, wonderful, terrible things. And I haven't thought about those things since April of 2019. How come all of a sudden, out of the blue, I start thinking about that? And then I had unquenchable thirst. I was chugging water. I could not get enough water. And I was just like, this is weird. But I kept eating my ribeyes. And then after 6 days of eating that meat, I felt really sore and all throughout my body. And I haven't felt sore in my body for probably 10, 11 months, maybe.
Yeah.
That was a big deal. And then I took my pants off that day because my legs hurt really bad. And I took my pants off to go to bed. And I did not recognize my legs. They were trunks. I had pitted edema in my ankles so bad that you would push on my ankles and it would just stay in that dent. And then I knew there was something wrong.
So your birthday's the 10th, right? It was February 10th.
February 10th is my birthday. I didn't eat the new meat until February 11th. That's when I started.
And then I'm talking to her. Okay, so her carniversary, though, her 1 year was on my husband's birthday on February 24th. But before that, before we even got to his birthday.
It was our social meeting. Our social meeting. Center of Brilliance. I don't remember what day that was.
Okay, so I kind of remember that it was the week before because for my husband's birthday this year, we went to Nashville. So we were going to be going on that trip, but you said to me, I need to talk to you. Yeah.
It was the 14th.
Valentine's Day.
It was February 14th.
Valentine's Day. Yes. So it's Valentine's Day. We're having the meeting. Or I think actually wasn't our conversation on Wednesday. It was on Wednesday before Valentine's Day.
It was Wednesday. No, the Wednesday after. Because it was the 11th. We should have figured this out already. Sorry. Anyway, it doesn't matter when it
doesn't matter. It was, okay, so it was around Valentine's Day, but it was a Wednesday. Okay, so it was a Wednesday, and we're having this meeting that I just popped in because I was excited. It was like the first meeting, I think. It was the first or second?
No, it was the second.
Second. Okay, so I popped in and I was excited because Wednesday's my really big, long CSA day. I generally can't get on a call. But anyway.
And I knew that you were busy that day. I knew you were busy that
day.
Well,
she knew she didn't want to talk to me until after Wednesday because my Wednesday is my crazy day. And Emily is let me tell you, this woman, she's so conscious. Like, she's suffering and she don't want to talk to me until after my big day because she knows that it's too big of a day. Like I have so much crazy.
No, because I knew that it would wreck you. I knew that it would stop you in your tracks to hear that I had this severe of a reaction to KFOB.
She had okay. So she tells me that night and I'm devastated. Like she sends me a video of what her legs look like. And they literally look like elephant feet, elephant legs. Yes. Like, and her whole leg and ankle, and you couldn't tell the difference. It was all like one big cylinder, like a cylinder.
I went from 129 pounds to 144 pounds. Just eating ribeye.
In a day or 2 days?
No, that was in 7 days that I went from 129 to 144. And so that's whenever I called you, is whenever I recognized that there was a problem. There was a problem. It was not okay.
She said to me, you said to me,
I said, Niti, I couldn't hear you before, but I can hear you now. I need you. I need you to teach me. Teach me about regenerative meat. Teach me how to get out of this poverty mentality of all I can do is get what I can get with food stamps. Teach me how to get a good local source of beef, because I had no idea how to I even thought, oh, well, I can go get grass-fed beef, at the grocery store. But I needed Niti to break this down for me and show me. And I didn't realize that 14 miles away from me, I had gold in
It's like 20
Sullivan.
minutes, right? 30 minutes maybe with traffic or
Yeah,
something. So,
I think 18 minutes.
I mean, it's not far. It's generally not very far from most of us. And the thing is that the scarcity mindset, so just for your information, everybody, when we were in crisis, like Emily, when we were in crisis, then it was different a little bit because it was our daughter. And when we needed to find real food, we were also on food stamps. Is that not an interesting trend? And I knew that she would be able to get whatever she wanted if she really wanted it, and that the food stamps had nothing to do with that. And that's the reason why I tell everybody, and I wrote even in the book, that you get to choose your bondage, because it's true. And a lot of people did not appreciate me for that, because I just tell you, if the sky is blue, it's blue. But you choose what you want. You create your own reality all the time, because you're choosing to tune in and listen to us, or you're choosing to not tune in and listen to us, or you're choosing to write a bunch of mean words to us in a minute, or whatever. I mean, you choose it. So, yeah, you choose that. And so if you decide, and the moment, what I want to say to everybody is, the moment she decided that she needed to do this, not only was she capable of doing it for herself. You want to tell them what happened?
With what?
All the grass-fed stuff is raining down on her. All of a sudden, regenerative stuff is raining down on her. The minute you decide that you don't want to die anymore and you want to live, the minute you decide that you're going to get out of the bed and go run to the playground, the minute you decide.
I don't think it's a mistake that was the same time that I did not qualify for food stamps anymore. I made just a little bit too much, and I think the end of January was that I bought my food, my ribeyes, those $3.99, with my last $20 of food stamps. It was just like the universe and God going, okay, let's open your eyes. You don't have to live on food stamps, number one. And number two, I'm gonna bless you even better. I'm gonna bless you even better than what you were getting with food stamps.
Because you're worthy of so much more. You're just worthy of so much more. You're worthy of everything, all the abundance.
And so what Niti did for me was she helped me have the conversation that I needed to have with my local farmer. I didn't know that I could go to my farmer and say, hey, listen, I have $100. How much can you give me? How much beef, your good, healthy, natural beef, can you give me for $100? And we got blown away with the deal that we got.
And I tell everybody, look, what the farmer's looking for. And I spoke to her. So Emily got me her information. And actually, now I remember more, because we were driving to Nashville. Yeah. So I was on the drive to Nashville when I talked to her.
Yes.
And I called her and I talked to her. I mean, and, they're lovely people. Like, they just want to also have everybody come play. They want you to come and play and stay and play and be happy and play. And, I think there's this misunderstanding that all this real meat costs so much more money, but the thing is that it's the lies of the mob media and the structures that, what I keep talking about that people don't like. I mean, the serious piece that I'll just get off the playground for 5 minutes, but the grown-up conversation is that the institutions that we've created to serve us have become our masters. And what they've done is that they have decided that we don't get to have the joy that we deserve, that we should be on a rat race constantly, and that we should be made to believe that we're not worthy, and we should be made to believe that we have to work hard for all of these things. How hard did you have to work, girl? How much harder did you have to work? Because honestly, it's about making friends. And once you made friends with this lady, then it wasn't
I
really that.
loved her. I loved her. Like I literally hugged her. And honestly, I think that was, like they say, you want to be able to see the cows and see the farm and meet the farmer. I didn't meet the farmer. I hugged her. And I said, thank you. And I'm so grateful for this relationship now.
And she couldn't believe I was thanking her. I was thanking her for doing what she's doing. And she was like, what? And I was just like, I said, please don't quit, because we need all the regenerative farms that we can. And, I think at first also I was telling Emily, I said, we need to promote her. And Emily's like, look, I don't need one more job. Okay. I cannot do one more thing. But but the truth is that, when we find somebody who's doing it the right way, we just need to let everybody else know, hey, if you want some, here it is right here. And I told her too, I said to her, I said, they weren't trying to farm. They weren't really trying to do a lot of things, but it was part of their family. And if they were going to be doing it, they didn't want to do it the way their parents were doing it, and their grandparents were doing it, because they wanted to go regenerative and they didn't want to do the commodity style of it. But a lot of generations had gone by where they didn't know. They knew a little bit, but they didn't know everything, and then how to scale it. And, so we're having conversations with them about that too. I mean, maybe she's going to want to have some more conversations with us. I don't really know.
Well, and when I got to meet her husband the second time I went to go pick up my meat order, and he said, this is so cool. He wanted to meet me because he's like, this is so cool that this is affecting other people in such a positive way, because our whole purpose was just to do this for our family.
Right.
The whole reason. And I think that goes into the laws of nature.
Yes.
That they weren't doing this for a profit. They weren't doing this for, commercially. They were doing this for meeting their family's needs. And if that's their standard, that they want to do what's best for their family, then that's awesome for me. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because then I know that I can trust these people. By the way, we will link them in, I think they have a Facebook group or Facebook page.
Yeah, I'll totally put it in the show notes so everybody can know who they are. It's Sullivan Farms. Mm-hmm. And Emily gave her a book, a copy of my book.
And she hugged it. she went like this. She goes, is this Niti's book? Goes, yes. And she goes, okay, I'll read it and give it back to you.
She's so sweet. Like, I was talking to her and I said to her, I said, thank you so much. Like, I want to know, as many regenerative farms as I can find everywhere so that we can connect people with them, because, at the end of the day, isn't it more fun for you to go and get your meat from her than to go to the store?
Yeah. It's so fun. I love it. It's crazy that because I valued meat before. Like, I totally valued meat and what it gave to me. And I valued the cow. Like, because I live in Southeast Missouri. I drive by cows all the time, and I smell cows all the time. And I value them. Like, I just see them and I'm like, thank you for your sacrifice. Thank you for giving your life for me. Your life is for me to live.
Right.
And then whenever I started eating Sullivan Farms beef, I swear to you, I mean, it was just like magic. It was magic. I with each bite, my body is like, yes, thank you. I get a visceral response, like, thank you.
So, how many days has it been?
I wrote it down. I had my first ribeye on February 20th from Sullivan Farms, but then the next day I ate Aldi's ribeye because I was trying to, I still was still was like, oh, well, I'll supplement with the CAFO stuff. And then I had a reaction to the Aldi's ribeye. And then the 22nd, from then on, I have had nothing but Sullivan Farms.
So have you now finally had some of the ground also?
No, I haven't picked it up. My bad.
Well, I think they didn't have any ready.
Yeah, no, but it's ready now. I just haven't gone and picked it up.
Well, so the other thing I was telling Emily is, because she was saying before that she could eat the steak but not the ground, and I was like, I have never met anybody who had that problem, but I could see that with chemical beef, because the CAFO stuff is like one pack of ground beef could have 5 animals or 20,000 or whatever, I don't know. But like when you're getting the creature off the farm, like she is now, it's just the one animal in every package. And we've never had an experience. I mean, in 10 years, 12 years, well, since 2007, I've never seen anybody have a reaction to ground versus like literally any other cut.
I'm interested to see. I'm really interested to see how my reaction is to that, because before I would have that histamine response to
I call it a chemical reaction. When people say they're having histamine, what they're talking about histamines right now, I'm like, no, that's an allergy to some chemicals that's in the meat, and it's not ever.
But I didn't have a reaction to ribeye, and I did have a reaction to CAFO. I didn't have a reaction before to CAFO ribeye, but I did have a reaction to CAFO ground beef.
Right.
So I don't know why. And I had a reaction to CAFO bone broth. Whenever I would make bone broth out of CAFO, whatever.
But CAFO bone broth, the bones, so these animals are in kidney and renal failure. So when you're eating, so if you're trying to gain medicine, meaning like have the blood or the marrow or the bone broth from an animal that's sicker than you are, then it's not going to make you feel good. And so you are going to have a stronger histamine reaction, because all of that is in their blood and in their bones and in their fat. And if you, and the other part of it is you haven't been able to, I know, get Sullivan's fat, but you have grass-fed fat, and you have it from a source that we know is clean.
Yeah.
So that's different also. And so, versus getting the other. And all the medicine is in the fat of these herbivores. So like if you get lamb, I tell everybody, you really want mutton. You don't want lamb. And what does that mean? Well, when the lamb gets older, meaning, so first of all, lambs don't start fattening up and goats don't start fattening up, which are both mutton, when they're over 12 to 15 months old, then they have to be called mutton. But people think that's because they're less tender and all this other nonsense. Those are lies, okay? So the truth is that the older they get, they start gaining fat. And, you're not allowed to eat fat in the conventional world. So, right. And you need the fat if you want the medicine out of these creatures, and if you want the balance. And I'm not saying that everybody has to eat fat like Emily eats, like straight up fat. Some people don't need that, but you need the animal to have at least gotten to the age of producing the fat. And you want to have some of that really good fat in the ground. Otherwise, it's not balanced and it's not medicinal for you in the same way. So you never really want lamb. You want what they call mutton, which is a lamb that's closer to 2 to 2.5 years old, just like we want older beef. Like you want the beef to be 3 to 3.5 years old. But the USDA and the FDA, they say if you process a steer after 30 months, they're going to rip the spine out, which removes basically the opportunity for fillets, which removes a lot of value and throws away this good meat. And they do this because they've fear-mongered everybody into believing that if they don't do that, that those creatures could give you, what's that? What was that?
Cow?
Yeah, mad cow disease, which is lies. The only way that you guys got mad cow disease was when you fed cows to cows. But when you're raising these regenerative creatures, then they're not going to have mad cow disease. That's like a total, that's just fake news. I mean, I hate saying fake news like that, but
I know.
I mean, it's the lies of the institutions that are manipulating you to make money off of you. Because come on, Emily, they just lost you as a customer. Now what? Now what?
They lost me as a psych med customer. They lost me as an MS customer. I could have been on medication every day for the rest of my life.
And
every day.
Still not able to walk.
And still not functioning. Still not able to think. Still just being a blob.
What about your son? Tell everybody how old your son is.
12.
Does he deserve this brain dead mother? Come on.
And it scared him. It scared him. When I couldn't walk and I couldn't talk, I'm his only, parent. So he was just like, like what's going on here? It was scary.
Divide and conquer, art of war style mentality. We're under attack. But we're not here to fearmonger because we only bring the good news. The good news that we bring is that the well-being is everywhere. Mm-hmm. Turn off the TV, go to sleep, take a nap. And when you're happy enough to come outside and play, we're going to be right here.
Yep.
Right?
And we'll help you troubleshoot it. We'll help you think about it. We're not going to sit here and beat you over the head with anything, but we're going to say, what about this? What about, have you talked to, because all I did was talk to one of my local girls and say, hey, didn't you say that you had a local resource? Because every other place that I talked to, they said I could only buy it if I bought the whole cow or half a cow. And I live in a freaking camper, y'all. Where am I going to put a half a cow? Where am I going to
I told Emily, and I'm telling you, and I told everybody that the reason they sell them whole halves and quarters is because they need people to steady buy beef. But if you make a commitment to go to a farmer on a regular basis, I mean, I bet you Mrs. Sullivan is doing everything in her power to make sure that Emily's going to have whatever Emily needs all the time.
Yep, she is. She is. I mean,
and Emily's getting a break because Emily gets a discount because Emily's buying a ton of beef because Emily only eats beef.
That's my source. That's my source. And so she was just like, okay, let's do this, and she jumped right in, and she didn't just meet me like, okay, well, I'll give you a discount. Like I feel like she met me halfway. Legit, she met me halfway on this last order. She met me in town. We met at the Walmart parking lot.
Physically met halfway.
She physically met me halfway and was like, hey, I'm in town dropping my kids off at church,
Does Harris Teeter do that?
I don't know who that is.
Okay, does Walmart do that?
No. I mean, they'll
does Wegmans do that? Does whatever make up a grocery store name. I don't know what they're called. But whatever they are, because I don't go there. But whatever they are, whatever they call them places, do they meet you somewhere?
No, and they don't.
Hey, Em, I'm going to be dropping my kids off. We're going in for church or whatever they're doing. We're going to find some shoes. Do you want us to bring your meat?
Yeah. And they don't take phone calls from my friends from Raleigh, North Carolina. And they don't read their books. So I really appreciate that. I mean,
she was probably like, lady, why are you trying to tell me how to run my business?
No, she was so blessed. She was so blessed. She was like, she wanted to talk to me about this.
I mean, I want her to be successful because if she quits, girl, you ain't got no beef. That's not going to work for anybody. We're like, no, we want you to win.
Yes.
We want you to win. All right. And we want all of you to win. So join us again. I mean, we're just going to keep these conversations going. We're going to keep following Emily to find out what's happening. And I am dying to do the ground beef versus steak video.
Yes.
It's going to be so good. It's going to be good. And won't it be amazing when Emily can make chopstick?
That would be awesome.
And eat all the animal instead of just, I mean, sure, ribeyes are good, but I mean, you know what? Maybe you want a meatball one day. I don't know.
Well, and I did diversify in that I'm eating sirloin and New York strip and
chuck eyes.
Yeah, I haven't got that yet. But yes. But so I'm eating other cuts than ribeyes, and before that's all I've eaten for a year is ribeyes. So, and they're still, I mean, delicious. This is the best meat. And I've become quite a connoisseur of meat. And this is the best tasting meat I have had. It is amazing.
Meat for the win. Yay! Regenerative meat. So
I got the shirt. I can't wait to, it's coming in the mail.
Regenerative meat heals. All right, guys. Well, we love you so much, and we will see you next time.